So there we are.
Here we are. Hello and welcome again to another Facebook Live. My name's Craig from mansioningles.com, a website where you can study for free. And there are lots of free courses for you to improve your English. And we also have a podcast at inglespodcast.com, which is a weekly free podcast, which will also help you with your English. And with me today, I'm pleased to say hello to Monica. Hello again, Monica.
Hello. Nice
How are
to
you?
see you again, and nice to have all that audience that you have with lots of comments, I hope.
Why don't you, for people who don't know you, why don't you tell them about your website, Blog del Inglés?
Okay, my name is Monica Stoker, and I'm the author of Blog del Inglés and Blog para Aprender Inglés. Blog para Aprender Inglés is the old blog that is not updated anymore, and Blog del Inglés, there you can find many resources in Spanish and courses and, well, lots of things, and videos also. And then we do some online classes over Skype. Okay, we have many native teachers and bilingual teachers that can teach you English. So if you're
interested,
if
you are a Spanish speaker, you need to go and look at Monica's blog, because her blog posts are very detailed, they're very accessible, very easy to read, and you'll improve your English over there because she is the queen of blogging, and so her blog posts are very, very good. And I'm sure you'll do one about today's topic, which is legal English vocabulary.
Yeah. Okay. We have to say hello to Gemma.
Hi, Gemma.
So a lawyer follower, Elena, Lorena, Claudia, Coque,
Erika from Chile.
Erika from Chile, Angelica.
Katia from Costa Rica. Wow.
Yeah. We have people, Elizabeth, Stephanie, Mimi, Rafa. Rafa, you put it there, you put your name other way around.
Yeah, you got to be careful with Rafa because he hides his name at the end. You think his name's Minia, but it's really Rafa.
Mistakes. Yeah, make mistakes. Francisco.
Hi, Francisco. Good to see you
Ronald. Hello.
Fantastic.
Ronald.
So many people joining us from all over the world. It's wonderful to see you. And today we're talking about legal English vocabulary.
Yes.
Really quite basic words that we think are useful for you. You don't have to be a lawyer because these words are fairly general and we think you need to know them because one part of studying English where you learn words in families, when you learn about work, when you learn about sport, about the cinema, about food, one area for exams that's quite popular is legal English and crime and punishment. So these are general words that you really should know.
Yeah, and I was talking to Craig before we started, and I was saying that this is sometimes important to know, especially when you read newspapers in English, because many times it's a problem of understanding the headlines. Because, for example, when there's a crime or when there's corruption, you're going to find a lot of legal terminology and you're going to be confused because they talk about sentence, lawyer, solicitor, all kinds of things. And you say, oh, I don't really understand what they're saying here. And it's basically
that's a perfect example, isn't it? Lawyer and solicitor and barrister and attorney. What's the difference?
Okay, here, if you let me, this is something I was very confused too, because I studied law in the United States, not in the UK. So the first time I saw barrister and solicitor, I said, who are they? I have never seen that. So we will say lawyer, by the way, lawyer, not lawyer. It's like an E, no, lawyer. A lawyer is a generic term for anybody who practices law, who went to university and studied law. And usually, well, we have an organization that is called BAR, the BAR. I suppose that's the origin of barrister, actually. The bar is an association of lawyers. So when you want to practice law, for example, in Spain, in the United States also works like that, you must be a member of a bar, okay? And
that's not a bar where you drink. That's not a bar where you get beer and whiskey.
it is an association of lawyers, okay? And actually it's like the word, how do you say gremio, no? I forgot the name in English. Well, gremio. It's an association of lawyers. Yeah, gremio is in English is a trade. It's a trade. Well, all the lawyers come together in this association and they put the rules. So a barrister in British English is someone who can represent clients in court, can go to court. And so if you, for example, have a problem, suppose a traffic accident, a divorce, or anything, and you need to go to court, that's the expression, ir a juicio, to go to court, you need to hire a barrister. In the UK,
and they usually wear wigs, don't they?
Yeah, in the UK they wear wigs, and well, and in the United States it's more like a gown, and in Spain too. No, it's more like a black gown, and that's it. But in the United States, the barrister is the attorney, so the equivalent of barrister. So remember, the lawyer that represents in court, that goes to court, and so and you go to a trial. Trial is juicio. And the solicitor is another type of lawyer. I was a solicitor, for example. I drafted contract. You know, you deal with any kind of laws, but inside an office, and you don't go to court. You're not. Usually lawyers are specialized. So if you are a solicitor, you usually work with civil contracts and you don't know too much about litigation. Okay, that's for another kind of lawyers that litigates this all the time in the courts. Okay, that's the difference. And
Francisco's saying
guild,
that gremio is
guild.
guild.
I was looking for the word guild.
It's not union,
this is the bar.
It's
the bar association, at least in the United States, is like an association of lawyers. They defend themselves. They also have insurance and all kinds of things. And that's the origin, I suppose, of the word barrister, because in order to go to court, you must be a member of that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
an attorney is more an American English word, isn't it? You hear the word attorney more in the US, and barrister and solicitor in the UK.
Yeah, an attorney, yes. Attorney
and
is
lawyer, a more general term for anyone who practices law. And we say practice law, that collocation to practice. It's not you're trying to get it right. It just means that you do law, and the collocation we use is practice, to practice law, and also to practice medicine if you're a doctor. Moving on.
Yeah.
So we have the word judge. Be careful of the pronunciation. There's that j sound, the same as in June, January, July, j. So judge, judge. And the vowel sound is a, judge. So the judge is juez. And what's a magistrate? Magistrate is a person who works in a court?
Yeah, a magistrate is... I think for me, this is a kind of lawyer. No, wait. A kind of judge. And in Spanish, it's called juez de paz. In Spain, a magistrate doesn't need really to be a judge. Juez de paz is the one that deals with incidents, let's say, problems or litigations that are very basic in a village.
So a judge is higher?
Yes, to be a judge, you really need to pass exams and many things. But a magistrate would be the equivalent to juez de paz. And a juez de paz is somebody, like in the old times, somebody who's a little bit wise and says, okay, you had a fight with your wife, you go home, you do the very basic things. No?
Like a legal psychologist.
Yes, exactly. This is them. No, they can put some punishments, but it's a very low kind of thing. No, not very important. I was fighting with my neighbors. It's like sometimes you see on TV some American programs where I think it's totally staged. Stage quiere decir, how do you say stage in Spanish?
Falso.
False. It's false. But this is a juez de paz. It's like a magistrate. Like somebody goes, oh, she told me this, she told me that, and they start fighting, and this is okay.
Notice also that judge can be a noun, so a judge, that's the profession, that's the person, and a magistrate is also the profession. But judge can also be a verb. You can judge someone.
Yeah.
So you can say, don't judge me. Don't judge me. Leave me alone.
Yes.
And court, I think we explained. So court a judge works in a court.
Corte, tribunal. Corte, sometimes in Spanish from South America, the word is corte, no? La Corte de Justicia, for example. And in Spanish from Spain, no, we use the word más bien tribunal. And sometimes the Supreme Court, no, the Supremo, this kind of thing.
Trial.
What's tribunal de trial is juicio.
Juicio.
The trial is when actually the action, when you go to trial, you go with this. In the case of the UK, you go with your lawyer. That is going to be the barrister, okay, with this wig, and you have a judge, you have the court, you have the judge, and you have the witnesses. We didn't mention these witnesses as testigos, and you have the plaintiffs.
Let me put some of these words in the chat, Monica, in case people are not sure. So wig, we said, was peluca. So if you wear a wig, you don't have to be a judge to wear a wig, but judges often do. And witness is testigo.
Yes.
So let me put that word in the chat for you as well.
And in the
yes, peluca, Minnie. Yeah, good.
Court, in the courts many times so especially in the penal cases, you need witnesses. Okay, it's a way to prove what you're defending, no? Okay, so
Monica, estamos asking Tribunal Superior de Justicia.
Yeah, but Tribunal Superior, this is what the translate. I was talking to Craig about it, and one of the things that you'll notice with law is that it's not possible always to translate the words, because in this case I would just say court, the something like the Superior Court of Justice, like that, no? But it's not an equivalent, it's a perfect equivalence, because the systems are different. They don't work exactly the same. You know, we have basically in Europe, except for the UK, because the UK always goes another way. We have the
don't judge me.
the Napoleon Code, and everybody. And from the civil code, the Romans and the civil code, everything was codified. It started to be codified in Europe, and we work with a very similar system in Europe, without counting UK. UK has its own system that is a little bit different, similar to the American, and that's why it's difficult to translate here, because they do not perform exactly the same things. They don't do exactly the same things. Okay.
Okay, moving on. Let's look at some more words for you. And I think maybe with these, it's better to start with case, because case is quite common. That's caso. So you have a case that's brought to court.
I have a case.
And when there's a case, then there's someone who defends the case, the defendant, and there's the plaintiff who brings the case. So the plaintiff is the person who is bringing the case. And jury, the group of people who are going to decide if the defendant is guilty or innocent. So I don't know in Spain how many, but I know in the UK it's 12 people who sit on a jury. So 12 members of the public sit on a jury in the high-profile cases, the really serious cases, and they decide if the person is guilty or innocent. Is it 12 people in Spain on a jury?
I think, I don't know, because I don't follow too much this. I would have to look up the law. But
does anyone know who's watching if it's 12 people in Spain?
I wanted to make a comment here about jury. Jury in Spain is only for certain special cases. Only.
Yeah, the same in the UK.
Only for some penal law cases, some kind of relevant penal law cases, not for example, problems with contracts or divorce. All these things are always a judge, because it's supposed to be very experienced people, because juries are people who are not really lawyers. Can be anybody. So the jury doesn't always really participate in these kind of trials. No, it's very strange in a way. It's not very common. And some people, even the jury in Spain is not something. At least it was established after many years that there was no jury, and it was created in the year, I think it's 1995 only. So it's not a very old modern institution. No?
We've got a question for Maria. Maria's asking, what is an alibi? An alibi is when you say you were in a place, a particular place at a particular time, which means that it was impossible that you committed the crime. And there's another collocation. We don't usually say do a crime or make a crime. We say commit a crime. So you commit murder, you commit a robbery, for example. So if there was a bank robbery in London now at 8:15, it's impossible for Monica or myself to be guilty because we have an alibi. We have a reason to say it was not us in London because we were doing this Facebook Live in Spain. So an alibi is something that you can say to the police to prove that you did not commit the crime.
Yeah, the name is in Spanish coartada, una coartada. That's an alibi. And the Monica Marquez says she was in a jury in Cádiz and it was 9 people. Good, thank you, Monica, because I didn't.
Oh, thank you. That's interesting.
Yeah, the case was a person that they killed. That's what I mean. That is not any cases. It's usually very controversial cases.
So it was a murder case. That's serious. A murder case.
And yeah, it was a murder case, and that's why coartada. Now Felipe Vázquez had it coartada. So a coartada is an alibi. Alibi. Yeah.
So moving on, we've got some verbs that are very common in legal English. And what's interesting here are the prepositions. So our first one is to accuse someone of doing something. Accuse is acusar, and use the preposition of. And you know, I'm sure, that if you put a verb after a preposition, it must be a gerund. So I was accused of stealing the money, or she was accused of robbing the bank. So you accuse someone of doing something. The policeman accused Pepito of stealing the car, for example. Yours, Monica?
To try someone for something. Okay, to try in this case is very interesting kind of use of this verb.
Intentar.
Yeah, that's correct.
Is it intentar or it's a different translation?
No, probar. But here, to try someone for something is juzgar a alguien por algo. So look at this. The same word that we use for intentar, to try, in this case, and this is why I think it's useful for reading newspapers, because he was tried because for example, manslaughter, or it's one kind of. Or he was tried for kidnapping, secuestro of some innocent child. No, he was tried. Fue juzgado, because it's of the word trial, que es juicio. Okay, so no, in this case, Rafa, is not probar. Probar is the other meaning, but in this case, it's juzgar. Okay. Juzgar a alguien por algo.
José's asking, what does anybody mean? Because I noticed that it means a lot of things. Anybody is cualquier persona.
Yes.
Anybody.
Yeah.
Cualquier persona.
Cualquier persona. Yes, exactly. Anybody doesn't have more than one meaning.
To appeal.
Does anybody know? ¿Sabe alguien? Por ejemplo, puede ser alguien. In the question, the meaning can be alguien. Because Craig, you asked, if does anybody know about this verb, this translation?
Okay.
¿Sabe
Okay.
alguien? ¿Sabe alguien? If anybody knows it, si alguien lo sabe, depends on how you, cualquier persona o alguien, depends on how you ask. Okay. To appeal against something, no?
To appeal against something. If you are guilty of stealing the car, then maybe you insist on being innocent. No, it wasn't me. I didn't steal the car. So in the legal process, you can appeal and say, I want you to look again at what happened, look at the evidence again, and then you appeal against the decision. This also happens in other areas. You can play football and the referee gives a penalty and you appeal against the penalty. You say to the referee, no, I don't agree. That wasn't a penalty. So you can appeal against something which means protest, protestar. And the preposition you need is against. So you're appealing against the decision or appealing against the verdict, we could say.
Yeah, and Rafa says apelar, but also the most common word here is recurrir. Okay, it's apelar is possible, but also recurrir. Recurrimos la sentencia. We appeal against the sentence because we didn't agree with it. No, to appeal against is recurrir. Oath. Somebody asked for oath. Is juramento. Adi Chris is oath.
Juramento.
Yes. Juramento, an oath.
I swear to tell the truth.
Yes, that's oath. An oath.
And the preposition with oath is under. They say you are under oath. So
Bajo
you must
juramento.
tell the
It's
truth.
true, they can say in Spanish. Bajo juramento. To arrest someone for something. Okay, this is very simple because it's the same. It's very similar to Spanish. To arrest someone for something. Arrestar a alguien por algo, no? I was arrested for negligent driving.
I don't believe you were arrested for negligence. I'm sure
No,
you're a very safe driver. Have you ever been arrested, Monica?
No, I have never been
neither.
arrested. No, I have never been. But some people, for example, when they are teenagers, they are a little bit crazy. They drink too much, and you can be arrested, no? And then your parents have to go and get you. They're very angry. Usually, the parents that have this situation are very angry. Why were you doing this and this and that? So
that's the first stage, isn't it? The police take you to the police station. They arrest you. They put handcuffs on you, so you're arrested. But then the next stage in the process, if the police have enough evidence, then they can charge you, which means officially you are accused of doing something officially. So to charge someone, and the preposition with, I was charged with robbery, charged with theft, charged with drunken driving, etc. So that's the preposition with, to charge.
In
charge
Spanish
with.
We say, usually we use imputar a alguien con algo, okay? Or sí, de presentar cargos, no? Presentar cargos is more generic. Ivan says, I think Spanish from Spain is, of course, is different, but the same thing happens. I'm also talking about the difference from British English to American English.
It's the same British English, different. American English. As we said at the beginning, with attorney and with advocate and solicitor. It's confusing.
Barrister, I never heard the word because I studied in the United States. I never ever heard the word barrister or solicitor. And the first time I saw that, I said, "What is that?" I was very confused because I thought, "Well, I don't know who they are," until I read about it. But I did not.
The best thing, Ivan, is to try to learn as many as possible and learn both expressions, if possible, the American usage and the
because in Europe,
and the British
maybe
usage.
In South America, Ivan, if you're in South America, maybe you don't only need the American term. You're not going to hear British English actually. to convict someone of something. This is mine, no? To convict someone
Yes.
of something. Okay, this is very easy, very easy because it's the same. He was convicted for murdering a woman, for example. He was. This is very similar. Fue. I forgot the word in Spanish. Fue condenado.
Condenado.
Condenado. Okay, and acquittal is an absolución. Acquittal is when absuelto. He was acquitted. Because it was not proven, because you have to, if you're going to be convicted of something, you have the whole trial is about proving that, no? Because it's the first, you're innocent until proven guilty, no?
Mm-hmm.
So it's about proving that you are guilty, that you were.
So you don't need to prove the innocence, you need to prove the guilt.
The guilt. And for example, drunk driving, no? You were caught drunk driving, and the test that the police usually does, this will be some evidence. Evidence is also prueba, no? The evidence for convicting. In this case, Craig, because if you do a test and the test has certain, you surpass certain limit, then you can be convicted of something. No?
And is asking about bail. That becomes after you're charged. If you're charged with a crime, then you're kept in prison, in jail, until the trial. Until you go to trial. So during that time, or after being charged and before you go to trial, sometimes the judge allows bail at a particular amount of money. And if that money is paid, you can go free until the trial. But usually you can't leave the country. You have to stay close.
Bail, the problem, that word became very popular in Europe. Because bail is fianza, okay? If you're sent to prison, like Craig said, he gave a very good explanation. You go to prison. First, you can sometimes get out, depending on the crime, if you bail, if you give the bail, yeah. If you pay a bail, usually it's a deposit of money that you give to the court. And then when the case is over, if you're acquitted, if you're not convicted, then they give you the money back. But in case you are going to have to use this money to pay the victim and all that. Okay, but it was also bail out. It was used very much in Europe because of the crisis that it means to rescue.
Oh yes, the bailout.
A bailout is un rescate, un rescate of a company that went broke, for example. So that's a bailout, and it has another meaning. Okay, next one.
Next one is to plead, and to plead is a legal term which means to say, basically. So you can say that you're guilty or you can say that you're innocent, but when you are in court, the verb is to plead, and that's the verb. But the noun is plea, P-L-E-A. So you can have a guilty plea, an innocent plea. And it's like a statement. You're just saying, I plead guilty or I plead innocent, which means I say I am guilty or innocent. So just remember, it means to say guilty or innocent.
Yeah, plead is, I think, is confesarse culpable. So you plead guilty, es que me confieso que I did this horrible crime. Mm-hmm. Another thing, I don't remember if you have that word. Okay, because I wanted to make an observation about the word crime, because it's confusing, this word.
I can make a banner. Shall I? What, just with crime?
Yeah. The declararse culpable, Kelly, thank you. Crime, because crime in Spanish is really, the meaning is delito. Okay? And it's confusing because there's another word in Spanish is crimen. Okay, and crimen is more into penal law. Okay, es derecho penal. It's usually murder or assassination, this kind of thing, crime. But in English, crime is generic. Anything that is something against the law, no? And a criminal is un delincuente, no un criminal. It's like a kind of false friend. I wanted to say this because of this. It's a kind of false friends, because un delincuente is anybody que delinque, no, that commits a crime. But it's not un criminal, because in Spanish, a criminal is somebody who kills. Necessarily, you commit a crime, you kill. Usually is referred to crimen, that is a murder. A murder, un crimen, no, un asesinato.
And also remember the collocation, which is to commit a crime. To commit
a crime.
Speaking of committing things, you can commit perjury. So you can commit a crime, commit murder, for example, and you can commit perjury, which means to lie in court. Mm-hmm. If you do not tell the truth under oath, we said, then you commit perjury, which is a crime, to lie in court.
Well, this is quite easy in Spanish because it's the same word. It's a Latin word, perjurio. It's called perjurio. Okay, to lie in court, like Craig said.
Yeah, exactly. To declararse culpable o inocente. Exactly. Yeah, that's the meaning. Very good. Okay, to sue someone. That's yours, Monica.
To sue someone is
very popular in America, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, it is. That's what I'm saying, because the civil laws are very different from the European civil laws. Okay. And in the United States, it's possible to sue you for almost anything, because they have special laws that protect like your rights. For example, if you and you can also, because of the system, you can get a very big compensation. When in Europe, that's the difference. That's why lawyers in the United States get much more money, a bigger salary than in Europe. Because when you sue someone, suppose I go to the McDonald's and the floor has been wiped, has been cleaned, and is wet, and I slipped. But nobody told me. That's why they put in the movies, they put always wet floor, because you can sue McDonald's and say that you had an accident and you claim money, and they can give you a lot of money. In Europe, this is not possible, usually because it's limited the amount of money you can get. Okay, so you sue someone, demandas a alguien, when you want to claim from that person something, because you think that person did something that damaged you, and somehow like you lost money, you had a leg broken, something happened to you that this person did to you, so you sue that person, and you use the demandar, very good, and to file a suit or a lawsuit. No, aquí no es traje, sino lawsuit against someone. You file a lawsuit. Okay, I file a lawsuit against someone because this person, the same idea, you sue or you file a lawsuit. File is como poner una demanda. Okay.
We've got some questions coming in. Adi's asking, what is hearsay? It's exactly what it looks like, Adi. When you hear someone say something and you report it, it's not from your direct knowledge. You don't know if it's true or not. You just heard someone say it. So it's kind of like gossip. What's gossip in Spanish?
Sí, rumor, un chisme. But in a court would be second-hand information. What sometimes is not valid in court. There's sometimes the lawyers in the United States say, that's hearsay, there's hearsay.
Yeah, you can't prove it.
That probably comes from the movies. They watch the movies and they see it. And they say hearsay because it's not as valid as you were the witness. Remember we talked about witness? So testigo, tú eres testigo, you saw firsthand what happened, not what you heard it happened, no? Okay, Craig, on court or in court?
It's in court, but on trial. So you can say this person is on trial or in court. Yeah, the judge, he works in court. So I'm in court tomorrow. Someone said before they were on jury duty and the criminal is on trial, but we're in court because it's the idea of being inside the courtroom.
Yeah, inside the court.
Like in the bedroom or in the lounge or in the toilet, for example. Mm-hmm. There's a question that's not really connected with legal English, but I think we'll answer it anyway. The difference between tear apart and shatter, that's to do with the material, Jose.
Yeah.
So, for example, glass shatters, but material or paper or cotton you would tear apart. That's the physical meaning.
Tear apart is rasgar. Rasgar because it's you can do a paper or material of fabric. And shatter is hacer añicos.
Wow.
So it's like, for example, a glass. So this is rigid. And usually for glass in general, it's shattered. So it's something fell on the glass and it's shattered everywhere. So se hizo añicos, trocitos pequeños, very small pieces.
And you can also have other meanings which are more idiomatic. For example, a relationship can be torn apart and your dreams can be shattered. So you would not say tear apart your dreams, but you would say shatter your dreams. So there's collocation as well implied there. Any more questions? That's it, I think. So let's move on. Where are we? To sue someone and to take the stand. When you have to go under oath, you testify, which means you give an account of what happened. So if you're a witness, and we had the word witness before, testigo, then you testify in court. And where do you testify? You testify in a special place which is called the stand. So if you are on the stand or you take the stand, that is where you are giving your testimony. So the noun of to testify is testimony, and testimony is what a witness gives in court. Have you ever been a witness in court, Monica? Have you ever taken the stand?
I have been an attorney.
You've been an attorney
in court, in Spain.
Okay.
Yes, I've been an attorney a couple of times, 3 or 4 times. I think I was. Normally, I have been all the time working as a solicitor, not as a barrister. But in 2 or 3 occasions, I went to help a friend or some kind of case I did that was simple. I went to court because in Spain you can do it. Anybody, and I don't know now, maybe not, it's not true anymore. As long as you're a member of the bar association, you can do this. You can go to court. In fact, I could go to court too. So I have been in a court, but I have not taken the stand or testify because I was the lawyer. So I was trying to defend my client.
You called people to the stand.
Yes. You call people, but in this case, the figure of witness and expert witnesses. An expert witness, by the way, is perito, because sometimes you have a witness. This is very much the witnesses is more for penal cases because casos penales. Because in civil cases, the judge, at least in Europe, relies on the documents, not the witness. What people say has very little value because normally people lie, and it is only. That's why they use more. They use it much more in penal cases. That, as far as I know. Okay, so I have never been a witness because I did take care of civil cases, not penal I am not too much into crime. So you have to like that. Huh? You have to also, if you're a lawyer, you have to choose what you like. And I don't like it too much.
And specialize.
Okay? Mm.
Well, we said before that if someone's found guilty, there's another collocation to find someone guilty. If the jury, for example, decide that the accused has been found guilty, then the judge passes sentence. So it's the judge's responsibility to pass sentence, which could be so many years or months in prison. It could be a fine. It could be a life sentence. So sentence can have two meanings in English. It can be frase. And is there a different translation when it's a legal sentence?
In Spanish, es la sentencia. It's very,
sentencia.
It's very similar. So it's very easy to remember because it's the same. Almost, it's a Latin word, sentencia. So to pass a sentencia, but a sentence can also say that you're not non-guilty. Declare you non-guilty, no? Dictar sentencia, that's what Rafa says. Yeah, to pass sentence is sentencia. So it's the same. It's the same.
Okay, well, that's all the vocabulary we have. We have a couple of questions that we could look at. Oh, this is one I'd like to get your opinion on this one, Monica, because some people say that a lawyer's reputation, they don't have a positive reputation in some countries, especially because in America, for example, they charge by the hour, and they may have the reputation of maybe trying to maximize their profit and billing lots of hours. What's your opinion?
Maximize their profit. I would say maximize their profit is a very polite way of saying what they do.
Is that your experience, or do you think that that's not true?
No, it's absolutely true.
Okay.
At least in America, in the United States. Okay,
Yeah.
I would say United States. Don't say America because some people dislike this word America. Like America is
North
South
America.
Yeah, North America.
Where it's easy to sue people.
Yeah, absolutely. This is how it works. In Europe, this is much more difficult because the salaries are not as high, and because just like I explained before, because there's a limitation and the compensations that you can get, and that makes a lot of difference because also the lawyer is going to charge some fee in relationship to the compensation that you're getting. So if you're asking 2-3 million euros to McDonald's or whatever, you're going to get a very big fee, no? Fee on horarios, no? And then it is true. It is true. I would say it's very true in the United States. Not so much in Europe, because in Europe, because of the system. But it is true that I find that the way you practice law can be very, very sometimes kind of evil. Like trying to find, for example, why? Because you're trying to find, in order to defend your client, even though he might be guilty, you're going to try to find evidence against the other person that maybe is innocent. You know, your story is not to be fair. Your story is about
to win.
Exactly, it's about winning.
Win the case.
Exactly. So that is where the problem is. No, that's why the reputation is so bad, because it's not really. There's nothing nice about it. Just trying to.
That leads me to the next question then, which is how could the legal system in Spain, let's say, be improved?
Yeah. Okay. So how could the legal system? Well, is that a question for me, or is that a question for the audience?
Well, I mean, it's a question for you and anyone who's watching as well, because you've got the experience because you've worked in the profession.
The problem is that is not very in Spain, at least. The problem is basically lack of resources. It's very when they have a budget for all the administration, I think the lowest budget goes to justice, because they always think, well, justice is something that nobody cares about. They do other things with the money. And that is I find that is the main problem, because you go to court and you find some civil servants with, cases and cases and cases that pile up. And then the computers they use are like of the past century. Everything is very poor compared to other administrations, like tax office, for example. They have modern office and all that. But justice is very poor, and I think you should give more resources. To have a better legal system, you need good resources and valuable resources.
Let's see what Maria's saying. Envia Pinal.
Yeah, they're explaining how you elect a judge. Yes,
okay.
I know.
Okay.
Between 7, you have to be anybody could be elected.
Yeah.
Correct.
Christine says lawyers know that every law has its own loophole. That's a nice word, loophole, a way out.
Loophole. Very good, Christine.
And take advantage of that. Yeah, that's very true.
That's how it works. That's how.
That's how they earn money as well.
That's how
to find those loopholes.
No, and a good lawyer is supposed to know this. It's supposed to know the law and to see, this is how I can get it. No, with the jurisprudence, also the jurisprudence that is the sentences, at least 3 sentences in the same direction. No, this is jurisprudence. So you base your case in jurisprudence. You try to see if there are any cases before that the similar thing happened, and you base the case on that, and you probably win. If the other person doesn't know that, the other lawyer doesn't know that much, well, it's going to have a problem.
Yeah, exactly. Yvonne says, I think any legal system should praise finding the truth than winning the case. Any legal system would improve under this premise. Yeah, I agree with that. I think there's also sometimes a big difference between what's legal and what's moral. Sometimes the law isn't exactly in line with what's morally right or morally correct. And Andrea says,
it's very difficult to do that. What the Ivan is saying is very, very difficult to do in practical terms because of several reasons. That will be a long story to talk about. But with less
policies and more implementation with the rules, less politics maybe. There's been a lot of politics recently.
Because policies on políticas, and this is like kind of philosophy of things, and politicians. And it's another thing, políticos. In politics, la política, okay? Politics.
Yeah.
Is the name. So, what else?
We have to go soon, so should we quickly go through the vocabulary one more time just to remind you of the words we've looked at?
Wrap up.
So we had lawyer, barrister, solicitor, and attorney. Remember that lawyer is the general term, barrister and solicitor in the UK, and attorney is more in North American English.
Judge, magistrate, court, and trial. Judge is juez, magistrate is juez de paz, court is tribunal, in trial is juicio.
Then we had the defendant, the person who is defending themselves in the court, and the plaintiff, the person who is accusing someone of doing something. Jury, someone said before they were in a jury of 9 people in Spain. It's a representation of the public which decides if the accused, the defendant, is guilty or innocent. And case is caso.
To accuse someone of doing something, so acusar a alguien por hacer algo, this is the same in Spanish. It's not, but the collocation, remember, of doing. Okay.
And the verb to try, similar to trial, juicio, so to try someone for something or for doing something. So you try someone for stealing a car, for example. And the preposition with trial is on. So the defendant is on trial for doing something.
To appeal against something, there's recurrir contra algo. Bueno, recurrir una sentence, to appeal against a sentence that was not in your favor. So you appeal. Recurres o apelar, Sometimes we use the word appelar. Comes from French, appeler.
To arrest someone for something, when the police put the handcuffs on you, esposas, and then you are arrested for something. So you're arrested for burglary, you're arrested for theft, etc.
To charge someone with something is acusar a alguien de algo, imputar a alguien de algo. Okay, to charge someone, acusarle. So,
and during the trial, if you're guilty, then you are convicted of something. So the judge convicts you of doing something. So notice the grammar there. You convict someone, so you need a pronoun there, of doing something or of something. And the noun of convict is conviction, and the opposite, acquittal. So the verb of acquittal, to acquit. So you can be acquitted, or you can be convicted.
To plead guilty or innocent, we saw that was declararse culpable o inocente. Okay.
And we use commit a lot today. To commit a crime, to commit perjury, is to lie in court. And notice the difference in pronunciation between a liar, a person who lies, and the vowel sound is I, lie, liar, and lawyer, which has a different vowel sound, the same vowel sound as door or more or saw. So it's lawyer and liar. Be careful, because with some Spanish speakers, the difference is not clear.
To sue someone or to file a suit or lawsuit against someone is demandar a alguien. Okay? Demandar, both mean the same. Demandar o presentar una demanda.
A witness is testigo. So you go to court, you are a witness, and then you testify. You swear to tell the truth. And when you do that, you have to take the stand. You go to a place in the court to give your testimony. So you testify in court.
Sentence and to pass a sentence, or is this sentencia? Very easy. To pass sentence is dictar sentencia. Okay.
And that's it. And then we had the one we added, which was crime and criminal.
Crime and criminal. Remember, a crime is delito, and a criminal is un delincuente. Okay. So he's a criminal.
So that's it. If there are no more questions, we'll stop there. Make sure you don't commit any crimes this week. Behave yourselves. Be innocent. Be careful. Stay safe. And before we go, we'll tell you quickly where you can find out more about us. Monica, your website.
Okay, Blog del Inglés. I'm going to write a post, I think in about 1 week or 10 days, about the same Facebook Live, about English legal terms. And you can find many resources, and you know that you can study there if you need to understand English and Spanish, because I explain it in Spanish. And you can also find our academy, EPI, that is Skype classes English, with native speakers over Skype or Zoom or any other platform. We also have a platform for company classes. Okay,
and if this is the first time you're watching us, my name's Craig. I'm from mansioningles.com, where you can study English for free. There are lots of courses, lots of material there for you. And there's an online store if you're looking for an English course. And also there's a podcast you can listen to at inglespodcast.com. And you can find that anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Okay.
So thank you for your company. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you again next week. I'll be with Lynn.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye. See you. Bye-bye.
And take care. Stay safe.
Take care.
Bye-bye.